Okay. All right. So, guys, we are back here. We've got Grunt and we have Shadow Muse 7. And we are talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! News you might have missed. This is the August 29th, 2021 edition. Guys, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. I always appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited to look at more cards and give my degenerate take on things.
Yes, absolutely. And the last time you were on, I'm pretty sure you found some stuff that you were pretty excited about. So,
yes.
And guys, just wait. He's got something in the works. So make sure you're watching his channel because he's always got lots of great stuff, including a new sealed series, which I am enjoying, revolving around time thieves. Yes.
Yes, and Grunt was kind enough to slap me in the face with Invokes.
It was not a full power invoked deck. I got some invocations going for Fluffle stuff.
My guy, it didn't need to be. You summoned Mechaba. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Fluffle Sheep is what won me the first game, not Mechaba.
That's true, too.
Fight for Sheep won me that game, not Invoked. So please, at least acknowledge that it was not just Invoked that got you.
The lesson learned is read cards before going to battle.
Yes. Oh, this is so true in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's so many times I missed something because I didn't properly read it. But we're going to jump right in here. So the first thing that we've got here, and I like the fan detail that I think you're seeing from different companies and just even Konami itself, with just different things to keep the community excited. So the first ones here are actual cushions, and boy, do these look neat. You've got Dark Magician Girl, you've got, of course, Dark Magician himself, and then you've got the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. I do like the way the cushions look. I remember when my wife made me a DBZ Trunks pillow when we first were dating, and boy, I loved it. I just thought that was so cool. So to all the girls out there or guys that your spouse or partner is into Yu-Gi-Oh, this could be a really neat item to pick up. Do either of you know how much 2090 yen is, or 1290 yen is?
That is
$15 at most.
Oh,
roughly.
That's not bad.
After tax.
Yeah, 100 yen is roughly, emphasis on roughly, equivalent to $1, not including tax. So.
Oh, wow.
$15 a pillow. Also, I'd like to point out two major things I'm seeing on these pillows is number one, Blue Eyes was not cool enough to be there. It had to be his better cousin. And two, that is not the Dark Magician Girl. That's actually the Black Magician.
Oh, it looks like Dark Magician to me, though.
That is a B.
Oh, you're right. What is going on?
I'm pretty sure Black Magician is the actual translation in the OCG, but they needed Dark Magician because, I don't know, 4 kids.
It's still funny that out of all 3 of those, the only one that isn't the actual card is the Blue Eyes.
That makes complete sense. Okay.
Totally they're gonna make an entire Blue Eyes mattress set or something.
Well, and I think that's something that would be interesting to look at, is to actually see if that is actually being used, or no, that's not what I'm looking for, to see how many choices that they have. So definitely try to Google the person there, the actual maker, this person right here, to see if you can find out more. And then this is interesting, where you've got silver-plated Blue Eyes White Dragon extra large pin badges. So I'm not a fan of something like that, but I'm sure there's somebody that's out there that is. So I think it's cool that they're doing that kind of fan service stuff for all the fans. So and literally, you can really find whatever you want out there. There's somebody making it. Shadow Mew, I know you just got some custom sleeves that you really enjoy. Do you think this is the kind of stuff you're going to see people expanding out into more?
Well, these types of pins have always been popular with, like, the high school crowd, because at my high school, personally, there was a lot of people that, when they did like the anime, they would buy all these types of pins and put them on their backpack and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Put them on their hat, even.
I don't see, like, you know, the more adult fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! Buying it, unless they really like it. But it is a nice thing that they're doing more of that.
Yes, I agree. I agree completely. And I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this would make a lot of sense with that culture, especially the Japanese culture, where they try to carry everything with them and they like small stuff. So, yeah, definitely makes sense. Something else that came up recently is we just got word that in the 2021 tins, which those should be releasing here soon. I heard October at one point. This says September 30th. I'm happier the earlier it is because I actually got 2 cases on the way. I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But Zeus is in there. So it's going to literally be Zeus for all at this point. And you can actually see people are scrambling trying to get their money for the card in its first printing. Guys, should people pick up the first printing? Because usually those go up in value. But we also know the rarity that we're being told for this one is an ultra rare, not a secret. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that, Grunt? I'll let you go first.
I mean, I personally have always played by the rules of if I like how it looks, I will probably pick up whatever is cheaper for me. I'm not the type of guy who needs to glitz out his deck. That being said, even with Zeus getting the reprint, I don't feel pushed to get rid of my secret rare version because Zeus has been probably one of the better defining cards we got over the year, in terms of a big giant boss to summon. Everyone knows Tri-Brigade Zeus. Zeus here is the one that got Dryden banned again, probably. The point is, people who are scrambling to get rid of their secrets now, I would hope you at least keep holding on to one. I personally think that Zeus looks amazing in Secret. He'll look good in Ultra too, but trust me, Vintage does win out usually with cards like this.
Yep.
Ash Blossom, the Secret has still been worth, as far as I know, $50 to $60.
Yeah,
so I can
it's
still
really retained its price. Yeah, that's a great point. Really good point.
People always like the high rarity stuff, so if you really want to try and make a quick buck back, good. If you already sunk in your $70 for it when it was $70, you can try to recuperate the cost, but I'd almost just hold on to it because vintage value and rarity tends to, level out. I doubt they're going to have another secret printing of Zeus anytime soon.
I agree. Shadow Mew, any additional thoughts there?
No, Grunt basically covered everything I would have said. It's just nice that we're going to get a cheaper version of it that's more than likely going to be a little easier to pull since it does have that ultra rarity.
Yep. And that's what I like talking to KCS Games. I think he put it perfectly. Zeus for all. This is a defining card, I feel, in a lot of meta decks. And it's nice that everyone's going to be able to add this to the toolbox now. So pretty pleased that Konami's gone in that direction.
I'm especially excited because I need it for my Time Thief deck.
Yes, which is always a good thing when you can add it to any kind of rogue deck you might be playing. Now, we heard about this alternate art for Dark Magician, and now we actually know what it looks like, and I think it looks pretty sweet, guys. I like how he's got the hand out like that. I just think it looks really well done. And I've really enjoyed some of these alternate arts that we're seeing from Dark Magician here lately, because I just feel like every few years we're seeing a good one. And I think this one definitely fits the bill. And then I'm still wondering about this. So it's a new Bandai Yu-Gi-Oh product, the Golden Sarcophagus Storage Box. Now, I wonder, is this a tiny little thing or are they going to get something big? So, Shadow Mew, I'll let you go first here. What are your thoughts on these two, the card art and then the storage box? Are we hoping for something large or small?
With the card, I like the art. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to anytime Yugi would say his dark magic attack, because I'm very certain he did that exact position.
Yes.
As for the storage box, I'm pretty sure if that is the actual contents of the box, is one, it's to give people a replica version of the Millennium Puzzle, which is going to be horrible to put together after watching Yugi do it. But I would believe that it's probably going to be more than likely the size of at least 1 to 2 deck boxes.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd like that. I like that quite a bit.
Although,
What do you think about that, Grunt? That'd be kind of neat if you had 2 deck boxes that size.
Yeah, it would be. I think people have been despite disputing how big it is. I know some people are saying it's going to at least be big enough to hold the buildable Millennium Puzzle that Konami had produced a little bit ago. So it's probably going to be decent size. I don't see it being deck box or small. It was going to be at least the size of a tin. But
Uh-huh.
I would think based on how it looks in this picture, I know it sounds stupid to make an assumption. I think it's going to be taller than the current Mega Tins,
Oh,
maybe about as
okay.
wide, maybe taller. And I wanted to also comment on the art. So those of you who don't know, before Konami was producing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Bandai was in charge, and I'm gonna send a PM here to both Shadow and Chrono. Here's the original Bandai art of Dark Magician.
Oh, okay. Hold
mm,
on. Let me
so
go
it's a
to
reference
that
to that.
here.
It's a reference to like the very
Oh,
first depiction of Dark
wow.
Magician.
Look at that, guys. That is just fascinating. Oh my goodness. That's a really interesting little tidbit of information, Grunt.
A
That's
lot of
pretty
people
cool.
don't know that because it never reached over here in the States. But whenever
Yeah.
someone says Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, that's back when Bandai was producing the cards, and that was before, obviously, before Konami took the reins and we have what we have today.
Oh wow, that is just so interesting. Makes you wonder what things would have possibly ended up looking like had Bandai stayed in it. Boy, that's just interesting. I love that kind of little tidbit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next thing, and boy, this is such a head scratcher. We have another errata, possibly in the works with Necro Valley.
Oh my god, again?
Well, it's possibly so. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. So Necro Valley is one of the most famous field cards in the game, but what does it actually do? There's a good chance you're not quite sure, and no one can blame you. Off the top of your head, how many times has Necro Valley's text been changed? You get 2 guesses. Did you say 4? What do you guys think?
No, it's more than 4.
I mean, I was reading it ahead of you, but I know it's probably going to say at least 8.
Yes. So you're almost right on there. The latest version of Necro Valley printed in Duelist Saga is the 7th version of the card. I think someone simply had no idea what the card should do and ended up changing the effect of Necro Valley accordingly as time went by. While some updates to the text were necessary to adapt to the card to the current rules, other changes made the card even more powerful than it previously was. And I did not get a chance to pull this up. If any of you could maybe snap something and put it in the chat for me. Um, Necro Valley basically shuts down effects working in the grave. That would stop like a Monster Reborn, premature burial. Is that correct, gentlemen? Am I understanding the card
Um,
correctly?
as
It depends which version. I remember the earlier versions, it was literally like you cannot special summon monsters from the grave and other things like that. And then it was you cannot move cards in the graveyard. I know that's like a basic
Uh
shift in
huh.
what they changed.
Yes.
So it again became more powerful in general.
Yes.
so
Yes.
pulling up the actual text of the most recent update.
Thank
All
you.
right, so Edgar Valley's current text reads as all gravekeepers gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Cards negate the effects of a card that would move a card from the graveyard to anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And negate the effects of cards that change the types of attributes of monsters in the graveyard. Which I learned
Christmas.
as a fun fact just negates Zombie World.
Yes,
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness, that is just crazy. This is a card. If there were to be another errata, because there's rumors of it, what do you gentlemen think would be the best way to, if this card needs fixing, to fix it? Shadow Mew, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Add it so cards that are banished can't leave banished.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
It would make it more meta prevalent and just replace either the card the effect that changes the types and attribute rule, or just add it on.
Woo.
I
Okay.
don't honestly see them doing any major erratas. The card's strong enough as is. Konami can. I mean, literally, speculating is speculating. Konami can literally make this card say you win the duel, but they don't. Obviously, so I could care less. Konami could literally make it where you can't send cards to the graveyard as cost or
Oh,
some garbage,
wow.
and that would be stupid. I don't think they'll ever do
would
that.
really mess up some people's strategies if they did something like that.
That would shut down
a lot of decks.
Shadal's Tri Brigade. It would shut down just the card Foolish Burial in general. Every single Foolish.
Oh my gosh. That's an interesting thought. If they really wanted to make the community blow up, that's the way to do it.
If for whatever reason they ever did that, it would become the fastest banned card ever.
Oh, absolutely, because it would just shut down so much.
Konami ain't doing that. It's just a very stupid hypothetical thing, but Konami, they're not going to errata Necrophalia again, and if they do, it's going to be some very obscure thing they add on.
Well, again, and this came from Twitter, that there is talks of it, and I thought, oh my gosh, they cannot be doing this again. So I'm hoping they leave it alone.
It's the most errated card in the game, so it's just kind of a joke at this point. They've errated Necro Valley every 2 to 3 years, so it's whether they do it again or not, it is what it is. This card is bound to get an errata. I just don't think it's going to break it because it's already strong.
All I'm saying about my thing was that if they did what I said, where it's just cards that are banished can't leave banished, it would just shut down lots of decks.
Yo, absolutely it would. Yes.
Like Tri Brigade, Invoked.
Yep.
Virtual World.
Yeah, all the meta decks right now. Taco Tony wants us to continue to entertain him. Taco Tony, we are glad that you can listen to us while you're at work. We are happy to have you here. Okay, so
I got
sorry. So let's go ahead now and jump into the V-Jump promo card. So we've got Victoria, the Angel of Courage. So it says here that you can only use this card's first and second effects once per turn each. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon one level 5 or higher light monster from your hand. And if you do, you lose life points equal to that monster's original attack. Double the attack of the special summon monster until the end of this turn. If this card in the main monster zone is destroyed, you can banish one other fairy monster from your graveyard and add one fairy monster with the same level as the banished monster from your deck to your hand. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, Grunt, what do you think here?
I don't know what to think about this card because, to be fair, the fact that it only has a special summoning requirement means that you're going to have to run stuff in the deck to special summon it and facilitate the special summon. It's a nice extender for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fairy decks I think of don't usually do that. I know there's like Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen. There's I think some of the
Ties of the Brethren would work here. Yep, you could easily use that.
Ties of the Brethren would work here. Like there are things you can do with it. I could see maybe counter fairies, but even then, counter fairies don't really run that many level 5 or higher to take advantage of. So that's kind of where I'm at the standstill. This is one of those cards where it's got great effects. And I think it is supposed to kind of synergize somewhat with agents, but I don't really see it. Personally, I feel like this is a card that might see experimentation as time goes on. You know, maybe there'll be a deck that breaks it, because it literally gives you the ability to banish another fairy, add a fairy at the same level. If there's ever a fairy that wants to be banished, I mean, there's ways to use this, I'm sure, and I don't play light fairy decks that often, so I'm not the guy to theorize. But I don't think it's doing much yet.
So my first thought was the Holy Knight archetype.
Yeah, that's what
Shadow Muse. Is that where you were going?
Yeah, its special summon effect is nice. I wish it was a normal summon instead.
Yeah,
which would make it better.
Yes,
but. But if you do, for some reason, have the Valhalla card and you can play it and resolve the effect successfully, you can summon out the Starry Night Dragon off of its effect and make it twice as big.
Yes.
Attack, I think, was 2,400 or something?
Yeah, I think 2,500.
Yeah. Which is an amazing effect. on that side, if it was normal summon, but it's not, it's very situational. You cannot resolve it on Ties of the Brethren either, because Ties locks you out of special summons.
Oh, for the rest of the turn, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
And its destroy effect is okay. Again, in Holy Knights, I don't know how it works in counter fairies or whatnot. Solely because if it's destroyed, you can search out Astel or Rael or Flamel or Seal, and all those are good when they do things.
Yes, absolutely.
It is important to note though that it does just say destroyed in general.
Oh, yep. Good point. Good point. And that's a good thing because that could be by battle or card effect. So that's always a nice feature. But my first thought definitely was the Starry Night archetype or Holy Knight archetype, as they're called in the OCG. Just because I thought you've got fairies there that they're going to lead you to getting more fairies to your hand. And then if you can special summon the level 7 dragon, it just does stuff. And so that was my first thought. But it's an interesting card. And like you said, Grunt, I think we're going to see experimentation with it. So we'll see what someone creates.
The only other thing I have to comment on it is that it could see play in Drytron, but that's a very big if because you do have to destroy it.
Interesting. Yeah.
The other thing being, the main thing that matters about this card when it's released is what its attack value is.
Yeah.
Because if it has less than 1,000, you could use it with Limit Reverse, which would make it a lot better.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, expand on that a little bit for people who don't understand.
So Limit Reverse's effect is special summon a monster from your graveyard with 1,000 attack or less, and if it's ever turned to defense position, destroy it immediately.
Right.
It's primarily 1,400 attack.
Never mind. It is. That plane is already dead.
Summon her with Shining Angel.
I mean, yeah.
That's okay. That happens. I like the idea, though. But moving on now to the new structure deck that was released, and I am hype about this one. And I know the OCG is getting it. They're going to get it this year, December 4th, 2021. And it focuses on Fallen of Albaz. And I think this is such a great card to build a structure deck around with all the support that we've been looking at. So notice it says here that it's going to have one pre-constructed deck of 46 cards. So that tells me there's probably going to be 6 extra deck cards that they end up using here. You've got 2 ultra rares, 1 super rare, and 6 normal parallels. 1 token pack of 5 cards. I like that. Of course, you're going to get the field mat and the playing guide, which, guys, I know it sounds crazy. I collect those because I give them to kids. And then the token pack comes with 5 super rares that can also come in a secret rare. Okay, so Grunt, what are your thoughts on the Fallen of Albaz having its own structure deck? And do you think we're going to get it here in the TCG?
A cool concept, and when they announced it, I was pretty excited, and then it took me 5 minutes to think to myself, there's no way in hell that Konami is going to give us this structure deck, because what they'll do instead is they're going to give us a booster set that has Albaz here, and all the lore from, like, Springans and Tri-Brigade. They're going to totally make some stupid theme pack and put all the stuff together, and that way we're shilling out more money for the new cards. I hate to be a pessimist, but they've disappointed us multiple times now with cutting off structure decks. And if they had a structure deck to cut off, it's probably going to be the one that is going to reprint good stuff. I'm just saying it.
Okay. What do you think this would ensue though? Like the Fallen of Albaz, like, do you think it's going to have the majority of the cards we have covered in other Yu-Gi-Oh! News you might have missed podcasts?
It is probably, well, obviously it's going to include Fallen of Albaz. It is probably going to include some Dogmatica stuff because Dogmatica stuff searches Fallen of Albaz.
Yep.
It might include a handful of Springgan stuff and Tri-Brigade stuff because there is a Tri-Brigade fusion dragonish thing. It's not Tri-Brigade, but it's, tied to it. Same with Springgans, same with the branded Overdrive. I expect this to actually give us a reprint of Albaz and all of his fusions, and
yes,
maybe give us a new fusion, maybe give us some more branded support for Despia to abuse. And that's what I'm kind of looking at here. The fact that we're getting a card like Albaz, who has seen a huge surge in hype in the TCG recently, I just don't see Konami keeping this a $10 deck. They're gonna milk us for the cows we are and make a
oh,
pack out of it.
oh, Shadow Mew, do you agree with this? It's breaking my heart to think about it. Or I should say, it's breaking my wallet to think about it.
It breaks my heart too, man. I just hate to be the pessimist, but I got to accept the reality.
In a realistic world, Grunt is probably on a 50-50 on that one, just because of how they want to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing Yu-Gi-Oh when Rise of Duels and Phantom Rage came out, so I didn't really understand the hype behind Fallen of Albaz.
Yeah.
When it started happening. But if it does get reprinted, I highly doubt they'll reprint any of the good cards from those archetypes. Just because those are the moneymakers for their products.
That makes sense.
They're also going to be reprinted already in the Megatins for us, and the OCG normally doesn't get Megatins for reprints, so this could be where the OCG gets reprints of things like Ecclesia for Dogmatica.
Yeah, great points, guys. Sorry, go ahead.
That being said, in a perfect world where they do just give us this and it has all those amazing reprints, it'll be really nice for new players being able to get these really powerful cards.
Absolutely.
But that's just depending on whether or not they feel like actually giving us it.
Well, and this is where I get frustrated as a consumer. So I am a huge fan of the structure deck because it gives, like you just said, a new player somebody that can just put 3 of these together and they have a pretty competitive deck that they can go ahead and bring to a local, try it out, see if they like it, and then add to it even more. That to me is definitely why I would hope that they would realize we need a structure deck like this, and it's going to lead to a ton of sales. I mean, look at the Dino Smasher structure deck. People bought the heck out of that. Same thing with the Shadal structure deck. People went nuts with that. So if you give us the right kind of structure deck, it's going to get bought out. That's going to be what people do. So in my thinking, I'm hoping they'll do it for that reason, that if it's a good enough structure deck, everyone's going to hop on board. Because I have done that with every single one that's been a good one. So Soul Burner, got myself actually 6 of those. The Shadal one, picked up 3 right away. Dino Smasher, I bought like 10. You know, I mean, there's just so many good things I can do with that. And it's a great price point for me to help build decks for people who are coming into the game and they want something super competitive. So,
and I like to,
yeah, go ahead.
I like to think of that. I like to think of that too. The only reason that it's kind of been killing my mood lately is like, look back, over a year ago when Toon Chaos released. We didn't know what was going on with the Warrior structure deck, and suddenly, to get your Phoenix Gear Freeze, your Immortal Phoenix Gear Freeze, you had to shell out money to get a booster box from Konami and pray that you pulled one. Now, singles are a thing, but like in Konami's eyes, they could have sold the structure deck here and maybe made $30 off a person. Or, they could just have a ton of people opening their sealed product, and it's probably better for them. That's my logic. Same goes for Dragoonities. Instead of spending $30 for 3 structure decks, people are buying boxes of Ghosts of the Past for, almost 30 a piece, depending on your retailer.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I'm just saying that at the end of the day, Konami is a company who's willing to turn any of their IPs into pachinko machines, so I really don't know if they are the type of people who are going to think of the players when it comes to how much money they can make off of something like Albaz, which has a lot of hype behind it.
That's interesting you bring that up. So someone in our chat, he's new to the game as well. Shout outs to Jurassic Rules 123. We're happy that you're part of the podcast. Konami is already making very good money off the mobile games that they've got going. So if you look at Duel Links, or not Duel Links, what's the game on the app, guys? That's on your phones. Is it Duel Links? Maybe that's it.
Yes.
But it's making crazy money, like hand over fist crazy money in terms of the amount of cash it just keeps spewing out. I mean, I think the last I saw it is double Magic the Gathering's money. And then you've got this new simulator that's coming as well, that it looks like there could be the potential for a subscription model, to where you can get a bunch of cards by paying a certain amount each month. And so I just don't know if they're making that much money, is it really needed to go ahead and try and break this one apart? That's just my own thinking. But you look like you had a thought there, Shadow Mew. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got two things. One about the structure deck and one about the simulator thing. The structure deck is realistically based on the last like 3 structure decks they've given us. They're literally just probably going to give Fallen of Albaz and maybe like one good reprint, and everything else is the filler. Is the filler junk.
And that drives me
nuts. The last good structure deck was Spirit Charmers, and they gave us Dark Ruler.
Well, and Dark Ruler was good. I mean, I was very happy with that. But Charmers itself, I was not pleased with. But when you go back to the last good structure deck, I think of 2. I think of the deck that you piloted and won our tournament with, the Divine Beast one, and then the other one was because that deck rocks. You got a pot of greed going on. You've got difficult ways to actually deal with stuff, because you have huge monsters on the field. And then you had the Shadal one, which was really good. It had a lot of good reprints in there for players that were looking for that kind of deck. So I am hoping this will be the right start for us eventually. Because when would this come out for us, guys? Would this be in April of that next year?
More than likely.
Okay.
Roughly, I would assume so.
And that's not bad. I'll take April of next year to have a really good structure deck. But if they do what you're saying, Shadow Mew, where it's just full of a bunch of fillers, I really don't want that, unless the core cards that they're talking about, like these 2 ultras, the 1 super, and the 6 normal parallels, unless those cards are like really top-notch type cards like you had in Dino Smasher, where it's worth it just to go ahead and get it, I just don't know. So I expect some filler, but I'm not hoping for a whole lot.
Here's what I'm going to say again. The OCG does not get reprint sets like we do. They don't get megatins, and I guess that's the one thing TCG has over the OCG, but at the same time, OCG cards, as far as I know, because of rarities, aren't super expensive like they are here, especially the secrets. But, I guess what I'm trying to say is, we're already getting reprints of Albaz, Dogmatica, Tri-Brigade, and all that stuff. We can assume most, if not all of that, is going to be in the megatins.
Yes.
Which is why I am really inclined to believe that because the OCG does not normally get reprints like us, like that.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
That's why I feel like whatever the hell they put in this deck that's brand spanking new, it is probably going to be shoved into a Ghost from the Past like set, which probably is coming out in April-ish. So I don't know. I hate to be that guy, but we are technically already getting a ton of cheap reprints of Albaz and stuff in the megatins probably, so I don't see us getting the deck. If we get the deck, cool. I'll get my set of decks gladly. I just think from a logical standpoint, Konami might skip us this one.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping that it happens, but I'm in Shadow Mew's camp. I really think it's a 50-50 depending on other things that they have in the works. But you brought up a really good point about the reprints, Grunt, so we'll definitely see. Okay, so taking a look here now, we're looking at the deck build pack, Grand Creators. The TCG release is going to be in December. And so we've got Rite of Amargia. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. You cannot activate monster effects on the field the turn you activate this card, except for special summoned monsters. If you control no brave tokens, special summon 1 brave token. It's a fairy. Earth level 4, and the attack is 2,000, defense is 2,000. I always like that when tokens do that. Then if you do not control Journey of Destiny, you can place 1 Journey of Destiny from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. Oh, I'm assuming you've got spell Journey of Destiny in here. Is that in here, Grunt?
Yeah,
I don't know what that does.
This is kind of an archetype that we have to take in strides. I don't think we can give a full opinion. All I will say right now is I put this card first because this is the only way you get your Brave token, and essentially everything else in this deck relies on that Brave token being out. So
okay,
you'll see you'll kind of get a better idea as we look at more and more of the stuff here. I've got some monsters here, so long story short, the token is the center of the deck. This is the first deck build deck I can think of that's not actually an archetype. It's more like a theme or series because there's
Oh,
no
interesting.
archetype tied to it.
Okay. And do you know what Journey of Destiny is? I don't know what this is. I know it's a spell. I'm assuming
It is
continuous.
it is a continuous. If you want to scroll down, it's on the 13th slide. Otherwise, we will get to it eventually.
Okay, let me go to that just because it's brought up. So let's see. Ah, there it is. Okay, so Journey of Destiny. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. During your main phase, you can add to your hand one monster from your deck that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text. Then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Oh, that's interesting. If a monster or monsters is normal or special summoned, you can add to your hand or equip to one Brave token you control one equip spell from your deck that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text. Each turn, the first time a monster or monster you control would be destroyed by battle while it's equipped with an equip card, it is not destroyed. Boy, that would have been so broken if you could have equipped any equip spell. That would have been epic if you could have had something like that happen. But it locks you into the archetype. So I think that's definitely interesting.
And spoiler alert, there are 3 equip spells. I don't think we need to absolutely look at them right now. We can kind of look at the monsters again, as you can kind of see here. Everything this deck does relies on that token to get extra advantage off.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the monsters here then. So we've got Wandering Griffon Rider, and it's a level 7 winged beast, and you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, if you control no monsters, or if you control a Brave token, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Ooh, that's interesting. When a card or an effect is activated, if you control a Brave token, quick effect, you can shuffle this card into the deck, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do that, destroy that card. Woo! Okay, then we got Magicite, Warrior of the Ruins. It's a level 4 Fire Warrior effect monster. You can only use the first and third effects of this card's name once per turn. While you control a Brave token, and I see why you put that first now, Grunt, because it gives you the token. You can special summon this card from your hand. Oh gosh, I'm assuming this is the theme for all the cards. Cannot attack while you control no Brave token. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh wow, a level 4 that's 2300. Man, that's interesting. And then at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent that specifically lists the token Brave in its text battled, you can set one trap that specifically lists the token Brave token in its tech directly from your deck to your spell in trap zone. Wow. Okay, Shadowmew, based on what you just heard here, what are you thinking when you think about this deck?
The Wandering Griffin Rider is a pretty solid just board presence and negate, since it does get around barrier lock and it's just a Omni negate if you have the token. The Magicite Warrior is also solid, and the fact that it special summons and it's just a Photon Thrasher otherwise.
Yes, yep, thought the same thing.
We have literally nothing that stops you from setting cards from your deck yet. So it's just a really powerful secondary effect. That being said, I've only seen one way to summon the token.
Yes, which is the fields, or which is that spell card. Yeah, I've thought the same thing. So far, it's just Rite of Armagia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that's the only way I'm seeing how you do it, is you actually have to use the normal spell. So that's a great question, Shadowmew. Is there other ways to get out the token? Because if not, man, I think you're going to have a hard time with the deck. So if you have just 3,
alert, there is not.
Oh my gosh, what are they doing? Okay, so that's rough.
The next thing is that utilizes this token, unless you have something to say about these guys, Grunt.
Grunt, is there anything you were thinking?
I mean, Griffin Rider is neat and all. I just don't like how he shuffles back. I understand why he can't go to the hand, but you're literally shuffling a card back into your hand for one negation. It's not horrible since you can hard draw into him, but I don't know. It's
It's
random. The
interesting.
Magicite Warrior is better in my opinion because he's a decent body and setting a trap. He doesn't bounce himself, and I mean the traps. If I remember, the traps are actually kind of decent.
Okay,
So,
okay. But
the next monster does kind of help with token generation, but not in actually generating tokens itself. You'll kind of understand when we go to that.
okay, okay. What were you going to add to that, Shadow Mew?
Uh, I'm just still on the thing about how they keep making these cards that set from deck, and they haven't made anything that deals with that yet.
Yes. Yep.
The more they keep printing cards that do this, the more I'm like, they're gonna make a hand trap for this right at some point.
You would assume so, right? Like that would be your thinking that there
like at some point it's gonna happen.
Yes, I agree with that. Very good future forward thinking there. So let's look at this one now. So we've got Aquamancer of the Sanctuary. It's a level 3 water spellcaster. So notice they are different types so far. You can only use the 1, 2nd, or 3rd effects of this card's name each once per turn. If you control a Brave token, you can special summon this card from your hand. So notice that's been in every one, except the level 7 is if you control no monsters too. And then you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard. Add, oh, there it is, one Rite of Armagia from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And that's what Grunt was talking about. It leads to you get the special summoning of the token then. If you control Brave token, you can place one field spell that specifically lists Brave token in its text from your deck into your field zone face up. Oh, wow. And so literally that's going to lead to the journey of, oh no, not Journey of Destiny. Where's the field spell? Okay.
It's the next page.
Okay,
we have
so
two
it's the
field
next
spells,
one. Two of them. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so let's look at the first one here. The Woods of Lost Flowers. If your monster's equipped with Starlit, what is that? Papillon are unaffected by card effects activated by your opponent. Oh, that's interesting. Once per turn, when your Brave token destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to draw a card. That's always good. And then once per turn, if you activated this card's second effect previously this turn, you can add to your hand one field spell in your deck or graveyard that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text, except the Woods of Lost Flowers. Okay, that's actually pretty decent. Because the way I'm looking at it, I get the token card back. The one that allows me, the normal spell card, the right one, that allows me then to use it again. So that's really interesting in that situation.
It only lets you add field spells.
No, the third effect, where it says once per turn, if you activated this card's second effect previously, this turn, you can add to your hand one field. Oh wait, never mind. You're right. It is field spell. Never mind.
It's literally. I'm gonna say this right now with what they've shown. They literally, someone in the OCG apparently was not happy that people were pissing all over Dream Mirrors, and they took Dream Mirrors' concept of flip-flopping field spells and shoved it into this deck. You'll kind of get why, and we have the equip spell here too for Starlit Papillon. We also have another equip to go with the other field spell on the next page.
Okay, so Starlit Papillon, equip only to a monster you control. You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. One, if you can only control one Starlit Papillon. Oh, that's interesting. Second, monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack for each monster with a different name you control that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Brave token you control, equip this card to that monster that you control. Okay, so Grunt, what you're thinking here?
Oh. So these are decent. I mean, I guess my issue, and this is kind of, beating a dead horse, I'm sure Shadow here is thinking the exact same thing. This deck really relies on that token. So if you're going second and your opponent has negates ready to stop you from bringing out the token, that stops you. If you're going first and your opponent, again, has a way to stop your token, or let's assume you don't have the token, you're trying to search out the spell with the Aqua Sorcerer, they can always ash you. My issue with this deck is it's incredibly fragile right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the field spell and equip are a nice gimmick. The issue is that this is a deck that's already super gimmicky, and you're running equips and stuff. The nice thing is, because of how the monsters work, you can afford to run less copies of the spells and traps and stuff, because the field spells are directly searchable, the equip spells are directly searchable, the traps are directly searchable, so there are a lot of ways to access what you need. It's just, at the end of the day, when you only have one way to bring out that stinking token that holds this whole deck together, it just kind of falls apart, in my opinion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I totally get that. Your thoughts, Shadow?
I see the Dream Mirror thing, but this also just feels like really bad Sky Strikers.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, my main thing with the field spell is that first effect is great. Why isn't it on the equip spell instead?
Yeah, great point. Yes.
Just switch the lose attack thing to the field spell and the unaffected to the equip spell. It makes it much better, and it doesn't matter if they affect the field spell at all.
Yes, great point.
Because if they Harpy's Feather or Lightning Storm you if you're going first, great. You just lost your unaffected ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The other effects are still decent, but switching between the field spells just seems kind of redundant when you're trying to just keep the token on the field. I feel like the better field spell in this situation is literally just play Tenyies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because it makes your token unaffected already.
Yes,
you can
absolutely.
play all of the unrivaled cards, and you can just play Tenyies with them.
That's a really great point. And you also get the draw when an effect's activated on your opponent's turn. Yeah,
when they summon an effect monster, you get to draw 2 cards.
That's pretty good. That is actually a really good point there. Let's take a look at the second field spell here. So Zaraham the Dark Temple. While you control a monster equipped with no... Oh, wait, no, this looks different. Is this different? It says Noble Arm of Light. Denel, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase. Once per turn, Brave Token. When your Brave Token destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Ooh, that could be interesting. And then the third effect, once per turn, if you activated this card's second effect previously this turn, you can add to your hand 1 field spell in your deck or graveyard that specifically lists the token Brave Token in its text, except for Zaraham the Dark Temple. And then we've got the Noble Arm of Light, Denel equip spell. Equip only to a monster you control. You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only control 1 Noble Arms of Light Denel. The equipped monster gains 500 attack for each monster with a different name you control that specifically lists the token Brave Token in its text. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Brave Token you control, equip this card to that monster you control. Interesting. That's very interesting. So if you send it, that's very interesting. So I'm getting a Morphage vibes big time here. So I don't know if either of you played that deck, but it had a field spell, or not field spell, it had a continuous spell that gave all your monsters extra attack based on the amount of Morphage cards you had on the field, and then the trap decreased your opponent's attack and defense based on the amount of Morphage cards you had, if I'm not mistaken. So that could get kind of crazy if you're doing that combo of increasing your attack and decreasing theirs. Shadow, what do you think about that?
There's just cards that do it better.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Just summoning Almirage immediately does that, but 10 times better.
Yes. Great point. Great point. Explain that more to the audience.
So Almirage's effect is a continuous effect. It just happens when it's on the field face up. Yes. All monsters lose 300 times their level. So it's already doing better than the equip spell, either gaining or losing, just because, oh, look, it's happening. You can't respond to this, and now I can beat over basically whatever you have. Because Almirage is unaffected.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Grunt, you're thinking, are they trying to do that amorphage feel here, where you beef up your monsters and then your opponents lose attack?
Look, my issue with it is that it's tied to equips, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you're able to access your equips decently well, because again, you can literally just add one with Journey of Destiny. My issue with it, though, is that, I mean, there's like I think Starlight Papillon's the better of the two here. My issue with Danelle is that it only boosts one. So sure, you're putting on your token, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
My issue again is that this is really hinging on the token.
Yes, way too much.
Okay. I just had a realization after looking at more of this, by the way. Oh, there's a third field spell?
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, I thought you changed the screen for a second. I got confused.
No, I did change the screen, but no, I don't see a third. Oh, good
There
gosh.
is a third equip spell, which, in my opinion, references there might be a third field spell. God knows they don't need one, but they could.
I've never heard of that. An archetype that needs 3 field spells. Oh my gosh.
This deck is better than Dream Mirror, but that's not saying much. It pulls off the Dream Mirror gimmick in a kind of healthy way, but I don't know. I don't really care for the equips. United We Stand is better than the Noble Arms card.
Yeah. United We Stand is an excellent equipped card.
Starlight Papillon, again, is actually decent, but I don't know. If I had to run one, I would rather run the Woods of Lost Flowers for free advantage in Papillon, but you're probably going to run both in this deck, because if you're playing this deck, you're doing it for fun, not to win.
And I think that's a great point to bring up to the audience. So if you like this and you're like, I would like to try this just casually, that's what's so great about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you can do that. And I have been finding that out more with the series that I've been doing with different people, like, for example, Shadow Mew. I actually love casual. It's probably one of my favorite ways to play. And then beefing up the deck as you go is super fun. And so maybe there's something you do with this and you fall in love with it and you're like, yeah, I like how this works at that casual pace. You're going to find plenty of people out there that are going to enjoy it with you. So that's the great thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! There's always that casual group. Then there's also the meta group. Then there's the group that's just quirky. It's really neat just how diverse the community is. But going back to this archetype here, let's go to the next 2 cards. So we've got Draco back, the Dragon Steed, another equip spell. Equip only to a monster you control again. You can only use the second and third effects of this card's name once per turn. You can only control one Draco, the Dragon Steed. While this card is equipped to a non-effect monster, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. Oh, and that's a once per turn, huh? Interesting. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Brave token you control. Equip this card to that monster you control. So right away, the Tenyi vibe that Shadow Mew is talking about, I can see it here like that. That's pretty useful with it being a once per turn. And then, of course, we've got Journey of Destiny again, which was brought out by activating the, was it the token? Yes, the token. Where you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. During your main phase, you can add to your hand one monster from your deck that specifically lists the token. And what's great, guys, you're going to get the special summon off that. And then you send one card from your hand to the graveyard. But if I'm understanding these right, that's where the equip spell is fine. Because you just send the equip spell, and then you target your Brave token, and then you equip it. So it's really not going negative. Am I reading that right, Grunt?
So the Brave token itself does not count for these effects. I wish it did, but it has to be something that actually lists Brave token. So technically, I'm pretty sure the Brave token does not list Brave token. So with the current monsters, the maximum buff you're getting and the maximum debuff you're getting for Papillon's case is 1500 attack each, whether you're gaining it or losing it. So
Well,
again, make that what you will, but
I'm thinking of the equip spells. They all say at the end, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one brave token you control, equip this card to that monster you control. So I'm trying to imagine the chain here. So you start with Right of Armesia, and then it creates the token. And then it says, and then if you do not control Journey of Destiny, you place one Journey of Destiny from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. So the token hits the field. Then you've discarded the equip spell. The equip spell's effect's going to go off, allowing you to equip to the token. And then Journey of Destiny would happen. Am I resolving this right in my head?
So Journey of Destiny's first effect is an activated one, so you would activate it first, and then you can say, I then use Journey of Destiny's effect during my main phase to then add a card and then ditch the equip spell. Once that resolves, the equip spell will be, hey, you have a token. Yes. Here you go.
Yes, that's what I'm picturing. Okay, thank you. And then the second part here, if a monster or monsters is normal or special summoned, you can add to your hand or equip one brave token you control. One equip spell from your deck that specifically lists the token brave token in its text. If each turn, the first time a monster or monsters you control be destroyed by battle while it's equipped with an equip card, it's not destroyed. Okay, so I'm really starting to see it come together now. So the token's more than likely going to be equipped with something. Then the monster that you have is more than likely going to be equipped as well, because you can take something from the deck. So, and then you're going to have it be powerful because it's not destroyed the first time that it's in battle. So that's pretty interesting. What do you think, Shadow? Can you see some potential here?
I see, after looking at everything, if this is everything, Grunt.
I think we
no,
got
there are still 2 traps.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at those first, and I'll give my full opinion after all this.
Okay, let's move right on to those then. So we've got Thunder Discharge, and it's a normal trap. It says here you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. If you control a Brave token, target one of your monsters equipped with an equip card that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text. Destroy as many monsters your opponent controls with an equal or lower attack as possible. Oh, wow. Then you can equip one equip spell in your hand or graveyard that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text to an appropriate monster you control. And then we have Resurrection Breath, again a normal trap card. And if you guys remember, one of the monsters we looked at, the 2300 beater, it does this. It sets one of these. Yes. So you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. If you control a Brave token, special up to 2 monsters, oh wow, with different names from your hand or graveyard. Oh, that would have been great if it said from the deck. But banish them if they leave the field. Then you can equip one spell in your hand or graveyard that specifically lists the token Brave token in its text to an appropriate monster you control. Okay, Shadowmuse, so now that you've heard the whole lineup here, what do you think?
So, Thunder Discharge is an incredibly powerful card just because it allows you to interrupt your opponent with whatever they're doing, and it is a one-sided destruction, and then you get the equip spell back. Resurrection Breath is actually kind of insane if you have good cards in your hand or graveyard.
Yes.
Solely because it doesn't specify that they have to have Brave token in their text. It's any 2 monsters.
You're right. That's a really good point. So you could send stuff to the grave ahead of time, then normal summon or special summon that one card and set the trap, depending on what you set. And then on the draw phase, you could activate this, and you're locking your opponent out. I didn't even think of that. That is great thinking.
Somehow, if you have a barrier statue in your hand or grave, congratulations.
Yes.
You just summoned a barrier statue on your opponent's turn.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. That is really good thinking.
The other thing about this whole deck that I have now realized is it's going to abuse the Soul Day so violently.
The what again?
Because Ysolde, the link to Warrior Monster link that says you can activate this, send 4 equip spells from your deck to the graveyard to special summon a warrior.
Oh, that's right.
So if you have the Brave token out, congratulations. It now has every single equip spell on it in one move. You just went +5.
Yep, and Isolde obviously can bring out the Magicite Warrior of the Ruins. So
Oh,
you
wow.
can. Here's the thing. My only complaint is maybe they're running a Warrior engine, but the deck itself doesn't really have good link generation, so you are going to need to run engines. You have room for that. Again, I hate to be the negative Nancy here, but again, with what we currently have, we have a spell that summons the token and a mage that adds it to your hand by banishing herself as cost. So my thing is, these are great traps. They're easily accessible. Everything in this deck is incredibly accessible. The issue is that if you don't get the token going, you're going to be playing a very, very mediocre deck.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's just kind of my one gripe here. I mean, this is a deck that if it ever does become meta, people are going to run Token Collector.
Oh, absolutely.
This lacks potency.
It's a deck that will. It's you know what? It's literally old Ignister because it's got. And it's literally going to be one of those decks where I can do a lot of cool things, but once it starts becoming a threat, people are going to have like 20 outs pulled out of their pockets.
Oh, absolutely.
Kaijus, field wipes.
There's a lot of ways to deal with it. Absolutely.
I like the theme.
Old Ignister was OTK go burr. New Ignister is I can now summon the Arrival Ciphers guaranteed every single time by opening at least one Ignister.
I mean, I'm going to say this right now for those of you who haven't noticed. I mean, hey, it's a nice little theme deck for all the anime fans and weebs out there. It is based essentially on an isekai. The token is supposed to be essentially pulling a protagonist into the realm, and you've got these little adventurers with them, and these adventures, that's literally what it is. It's isekai the deck. So it's cool. I like the concept. I just don't like the idea of hinging everything on a token.
I agree. Good stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at Battle of Chaos now. So more legacy support here, which I know fans are going to love, especially the casual market. So we've got Illusion of Chaos. It's a level 7 Dark Spellcaster Ritual monster. You can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, and you can use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. You can reveal this card in your hand, add one Dark Magician or one non-ritual monster that specifically lists that card's name in its text from your deck to your hand, and then place one card from your hand on top of the deck. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one Dark Magician from your graveyard, and if you do that, then you negate the effect. Ooh, okay, Grunt. There's a lot going on there. Okay, so what do you think of that one?
I mean, it speaks for itself. It adds some of the new support cards that we'll look at later that list Dark Magician. Those of you who actually play Dark Magician, this can search out a lot of things. Apprentice Illusion.
Yeah.
It can search out a Magician of Dark Illusion. It can search out Dark Magician Girl, obviously, if you really want to summon her / search her. The big ones are Magician's Rod, obviously, and everyone's favorite, Magician's Souls.
Yeah,
you've got a bona fide way now to search extra souls, so that cheap reprint of Souls can't come soon enough.
Well, and it is interesting, especially that it's ritual based. So what do you think, Shadow? Do you think this is the right way for the deck to be going?
I'm so tired of seeing Dark Magician and Blue Eye support.
I get it.
I want, like, the last time they gave a different archetype from that original series support was Dragoon, and he's not even used in a Red Eyes deck.
Yep.
Here's the thing: you don't even need to ritual summon this guy. You can literally reveal him, search out Magician Souls, and put him back in your deck if you don't want him in your hand anymore. It's really
interesting. Okay.
He has good effects, but this is a ritual that's not a brick. You don't even need to run the ritual spell to search with him, so he's essentially a free search for what you need.
Yeah, well, and I get that, so that's nice in that way.
It's a
Shadow,
silent
I
mining with
agree
zero
with
cost.
you. I,
Pretty much.
so Shadow, I think you're right that for players that like unique builds, they're getting tired of seeing this type of support. They would like to see support for other archetypes that maybe have not been supported as much.
In my
Um,
Metaphys.
yes, right, exactly. So those rogue type of decks that people really enjoy playing, but it's like, man, when am I going to get new support for this? So yeah, I totally see what you're saying there, but I understand the casual market. They're gonna love this kind of stuff, especially if they're a huge diehard, Dark Magician fan. This is what they're looking for.
This feels like they're trying to get all the old players back into Yu-Gi-Oh by any means necessary.
Yeah, yeah, and it might work. You never know. I will say, I keep finding new ways to enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh that in no way is meta, and it's a great game. And if that brings them back in, well, I'm excited that they found a way to do that. Our next one here, it's a level 8 monster, Timaeus, the Dragon of Destiny. It's a light monster. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects each once per turn. You can send one spellcaster monster or one spell and trap that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text from your hand or face up field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. It's got pretty decent attack here at 2800 and 1800 defense. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials, including at least one spellcaster monster, which is more than likely going to be the one that you had that was brought back to the hand. So that's pretty interesting. And then now we've got an actual fusion monster we get to see here. So it's Dark Master of Chaos. It's a level 8 Dark spellcaster fusion monster. It requires Dark Magician plus one Chaos monster or Black Luster Soldier ritual monster. You can only use the first, second, and third effects of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target one light or dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can tribute one light or dark monster and banish all monsters your opponent controls. Jiminy Christmas. Okay.
And it has to be light and dark.
And yes, but the card itself you contribute it off probably. And then if this fusion summon card is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can target one spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Oh, wow. Okay, Shadow, what are your thoughts on these two cards?
They just nullified the point to ever run Anaconda again.
Expand on that for people who haven't caught what you've just said there.
So let's say you have Ritual Man McGee in your hand and Dark Magician.
Uh-huh.
You can now search out Timaeus because he does have Dark Magician in his text.
Yep.
Discard any of the numerous cards that you would be running at this time that have Dark Magician in your hand to special summon him. Then immediately use its effect to send Dark Magician and itself to the graveyard to summon Dragoon.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, and all you're losing with this versus the Red Eyes fusion is you're getting one less pop. But let's be honest, Dragoon is still a threat with one pop, and now it's super generic.
Yes.
And Konami can ban Red Eyes fusion without drawing the ire of every single person who relies on Dragoon to win.
Wow.
Anaconda will become less annoying, however, because if they do ban Red Eyes Fusion, congratulations, Anaconda can now be used in much more creative ways.
Yes, it can.
I summon Dragoon.
Yes, that is a great point.
And I'll have to ban Red Eyes Fusion still, but yes.
Well,
however, Timaeus is just a bully card.
Yeah.
I just hate how they didn't give Timaeus some stupid asinine ruling where you can fusion summon a card that usually would require Eye of Timaeus.
Oh, yeah.
Because Eye of Timaeus. Now, here's the cool thing: Eye of Timaeus. People were like, "Oh, I could search this," but cards like Magician's Rod, it had to be cards that specifically listed Dark Magician in the archetype. But now that we have Illusion of Chaos, You can add, again, you can add this guy. You can add any non-ritual monster that includes Dark Magician in its name. It's a shame he doesn't search out spells, because he would have been able to search out Eye of Timaeus, but without an Eye of Timaeus searcher, this is probably the best thing we're going to get.
It's pretty solid, guys. Especially when I look at the fusion monster here, that you contribute one light, and one dark monster. I mean, it does have a heavy cost, but man, banishing everything.
I'm stupid because you totally can. You don't have to use Eye of Timaeus.
Yes.
So you don't. So technically, you could use this to make Amulet Dragon or Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. So, you know what? If you're not running other fusion options like Dragoon, and Dragoon's probably the better option here. But if you don't want to run Dragoon because Dragoon is making your wallet bleed, you can totally you can totally run other options with Dark Magician now and have less of a bricky deck.
And I like that you said it like that, because Dragoon is getting close to $100. I don't think that this is going to be $100. So because it's weaker.
Well, and that's the thing too, guys. If you're looking to cave, don't cave. One, Dragoon cannot go up much higher, in my opinion. And two, Konami knows that it's going to make them more money if they reprint it.
Oh, absolutely. Soon. Yeah.
So I expect a reprint in the next 6 months. Maybe not in the Megatins, but it could be in the Gold set. It could be in the Brothers of Legends set. It could be in whatever the heck we get instead of Ghosts from the Past. There are plenty of opportunities for Konami to potentially reprint it, so keep your hope up, guys. If you want to play that card, you just wait. $100, in my opinion, is not worth a card that's got an imminent reprint in the next year, hopefully.
Or if you want a card that's like Dragoon, but slightly better in every single possible way, just wait till Burst of Destiny. You pick up Destiny Hero, destroy Phoenix Enforcer.
Oh, you mean the guy who essentially is going to make Dragoon deck less of a thing because you're just going to summon him instead?
Yeah, because you're not under any restriction by using Fusion Destiny itself.
Oh, no, good gosh.
Have fun with that, guys, when October rolls around.
That fusion monster is going to be a secret. He's going to hurt my wallet, but
Yeah, but he's...
I'm buying a case of that.
I'm going to trade him. I can't afford a case.
I'm buying a case of that just for the worms. If I get him, that's just the icing on the cake.
I love how you said that. Well, I'm just buying a case. All right, that will definitely ensure that you get what you're looking for. All right,
don't pull any of the worms.
So our next one here is Dimension Conjurer, and it's a level 1 dark spellcaster monster. If this, you can only use this card's name first and second effects each once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 magical dimension from your hand or deck from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, and that's going to be easy with Linkuriboh, you can draw cards equal to the number of spellcaster monsters you control, then place the same number of cards from your hand on top of the deck in any order. Oh, wow. Okay, let's look at that last effect again, everybody. That's important. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, with it being level 1, Linkuriboh does that instantly. You can draw cards equal to the number of spellcaster monsters you control, then place the same number of cards from your hand on top of the deck in any order. Oh my gosh, Grunt. Okay, so let's talk about this. My picture is you swarm the field with spellcasters. That's what I'm thinking. And there's multiple uses for this situation. I'm thinking of a pendulum deck where you could easily have 5 cards out on the field. And then you have this, and then you link off for this, and then you go ahead and use the effect. You're getting a draw of 4. Am I reading that right? Would that be correct?
It's slightly worse, Yugioh, but it doesn't require you to sack off 4 monsters to get it. It requires you to have an established board, because you're shuffling back, you're putting back on top of your deck what you drew.
Right, what you drew.
Numbers.
But you get to choose the order, so you're not shuffling the deck. So that's really interesting.
I could see this with some applications. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to be used with Magical Dimension. You get rid of this guy with Magical Dimension, you bring out a monster, it resolves. And then, since he's an if effect, he doesn't miss timing and he's able to do draw effects for the deck. I mean, he's cool. I guess my point with him, though, is getting all those spellcasters out on the board. I mean, you're probably winning anyways if your opponent doesn't have a way to stop that. So, I don't know. In Dark Magician, I could see them running one copy of him just because you could put something back on top of your deck, and if you have what is it, the Dark Magical Circle, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yep. You activate Dark Magical Circle, excavate the Dark Magician card that you probably put on top of your deck, and then you're able to net gain essentially what you drew.
Jeez, yeah, that's interesting. I see lots of uses for this, not just in Dark Magician. I think this could be very effective, just because Magical Dimension itself is also very generic. So what do you think here, Shadow Mew? Any other thoughts where we could see this being used?
I really don't want to see Dark Magician hit the meta, but this is starting to make that very possible.
It's not going to be meta.
My guy, have you ever heard of a Soul Servant?
Soul Servant's a good card and all, but I don't see it making Dark Magician top tier. The deck still plays Eternal Soul, which is a self-destruct button whenever your opponent draws an MST.
If you get rid of it, yeah.
So I'm not saying Dark Magicians are bad. I'm sure there are Dark Magician enthusiasts right now who love this support, and there's more.
Oh gosh. So, okay, yeah. Well, we'll definitely look at that. But Shadow Mew, continue your thought. So you think that this could make some waves, is what you're saying?
Just because Magical Dimension is a quick play card, the main problem with Eternal Soul is that you're either special summoning Dark Magician or you're searching out a card that lists it. This just gives you the option to not need that.
Yeah.
And you can just always search off Thousand Knives or Dark Magic Attack.
Oh, just man, wow. So it's good support for without a doubt. This is all good. Sorry.
It's hidden at the bottom of Magical Dimension, but if you look there, it says then you can destroy a monster on the field.
Yes. Is that right? I thought that was mandatory.
Nope, it is a can effect.
Oh, wow, that is interesting. I never knew that. I always thought that was a mandatory one. Oh, gosh, this card. Oh, I've been wanting to talk about this. Okay, so Magikaribo. Look at the art, everybody. Oh, my gosh. Yep. You can only use this card's name's first and second effect each once per turn. During the main or battle phase, if you took battle damage or damage from an opponent's card effect this turn, it's a quick effect that you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and special summon one Dark Magician, oh Jiminy Christmas, or Dark Magician Girl from your deck or graveyard. Holy crapola. If you have Dark Magical Circle on the field, you have Prime Interruption. If a face-up spell caster monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effect, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, good gosh. Wow. Okay, so that's really interesting. Okay, and then we have Magician Salvation. It's a field spell. You can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn, and you can only activate the second effect of this card's name once per turn. When this card's activation resolves, you can set one Eternal Soul directly from your deck. Oh, good gosh. And if you normal or special summon a Dark Magician or Magicians or Magician Girls, you can target one of those monsters, special summon from the graveyard, one Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, whose name is different than the target's. Okay, Shadow Mew, are you thinking that's looking more possible for waves now?
I just want them to stop giving him support.
Trust me, I get the sentiment. If it makes you feel better, I mean, Dark Magician honestly has been getting more of a fan service than Blue Eyes lately.
Oh man, the Magikaribo's good, guys. That is a fantastic card.
It literally lets you bring out anything from your deck or graveyard that's Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, and then if they get destroyed, you just add it back to your hand for future recovery options. So,
I mean,
and for those of you wondering, yes, this is a World Premiere Pack 2021. we are getting it. We are confirmed getting this in the next 2 cards within the Megatins this year. These are the Megatin Premier cards that we're supposed to get ahead of time, but because the OCG is the OCG, they're getting them roughly at the same time as us, just like how they didn't have to wait a year for Nibiru and we're still waiting for Crossout Designator.
It's good. I mean, I keep looking at this card and I keep thinking to myself, because many Dark Magician players play the Wind Witch engine. So I'm looking at the first effect of Magic Karibo. During the main or battle phase, if you took battle damage, which we know, oh wait, no, that does the damage to them, I believe. But there's cards that you can inflict your own damage with. Then you could send this, get your special summon out, and start that havoc. And then the same thing happens on their turn. They do any type of burn damage to you. This sucker's coming out, and there's your interruption. So let's say they're playing Wind Witch against you. You have Dark Magical Circle out. They activate the effect to special. You use your Magic Karibo here. You get the Dark Magician out. You have the Dark Magical Circle effect going off, banishing. You have done the interruption on their turn. I mean, there are so many uses here that I can picture with this little card. And you're saying this is guaranteed it's coming in the tin?
Yes. I'm not 100% sure how the tins are working this year. I forget if they're bringing back promos or not. I'm pretty sure they're not bringing back promos. So essentially, like Dragoon last year and whatever the heck else they put in the tins. I think it was also Blue Eyes and Dark Magician stuff. You'll be able to pull this from the tin and the next 2 cards as well, which actually is a Blue Eyes support card, but eh.
This is absolute, and the field spell's really good too. I mean, you get to set the Eternal Soul. That's the lifeblood of the deck. I mean, oh my goodness, there's just so much here.
I just hope for Dark Magician's sakes that they actually reprint the stupid Duelist set, because I'm tired of the evil heroes being over $100 a piece. I'm tired of the Magician Souls. I want to take the nearest box of that set and burn it, because that stupid set is probably the most overpriced side set I've seen in years.
Yeah, it's got a lot of reprints, but I like the reprints, so I bought them all at a nickel. So, I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Reprints are nice. It's just the Dark Magician Fusion is like $60 to $70.
Yeah, it's insane.
Don't get me started on Souls, a Dusted Gold, and freaking Malicious Bane.
Absolutely. But it's solid. Okay, so continuing the world premiere pack of 2021, we've got Shatter the Darkness, a continuous spell. You can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. If you normal or special summon a non-token normal monster, you get to draw a card. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. When one of the following monsters you control declares an attack and battles an opponent's monster, until the end of the turn, the monster gains attack equal to the attack of your opponent's monster. Oh, wow. And you have a level 5 or higher normal monster, a ritual monster that uses a normal monster, and then a fusion, synchro, or exceed summon monster that used a normal monster as material, which a lot of the ones we see often do that. So unless you're doing Necros or something. Okay, then we have True Light, the continuous trap. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. Apply one of the following. Special summon one Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard. Directly set to your field from your deck one spell or trap that specifically lists the card Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text that has a different name from cards you control and in your graveyard. And then the second effect, Blue Eyes White Dragon in your monster zone cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Oh, that makes this really good right away. And then if this face-up card in the spell or trap zone is sent to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. Oh. And the third effect just seals it. Okay, so Grunt, there was potential here with True Light. Do you think people are going to use it?
Let's see. I mean, Blue Eyes has enough good ways to bring out their cards without relying on a slow trap. I don't know. I mean, technically, True Light has to be sent to the graveyard, so It's just a Blue Eyes version of Eternal Soul. There aren't that many spell traps I can think of compared to Magician that really cares about it. I like it. I'm probably gonna get a play set from my tins anyway, so I'll take what I get.
Right.
The fact that it only works on Blue Eyes White Dragon being untargetable is just kind of pointless. They've literally got a trap that can make any Blue Eyes card
Yep.
untargetable and indestructible,
Yes.
so which you can set with it. So second effect sucks. First effect is okay. Third effect is
terrible.
It's literally Eternal Soul but worse, which it is what it is. Shadow of the Darkness. I don't know if Dark Magicians are gonna play this. I know I'll probably play it in Phantasm Spiral, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But you know.
I think the Shadow of the Darkness is pretty good. What are your?
It'll be good in some decks. It just won't be good in Dark Magician, in my opinion, because it's kind of a dead draw. It doesn't list Dark Magician, so it's not searchable.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just kind of a brick.
Well, Shadow Mew, I really like the Shadow of the Darkness because I can see it used in other decks that have lots of normal monsters. What's your thinking on that?
It's gonna be great in every deck except what it's meant for.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great in Tennies. It's gonna be great
Yep.
in Spiral. It's gonna be great in Ignite. It's gonna be great in just about everything but what it was intended for. The second effect is amazing for, the normal monsters you summon. Especially Phantasm Spiral, because you do summon a level 8 token.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely.
And True Light is just awful.
Oh, it's awful. As soon as I read that third effect, just what are they doing?
Oh, not even that. They didn't even give it the quality of unaffected. They gave it can't be targeted.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Like Grunt said, it's a worse version of Eternal Soul. I mean, they just really ended up messing that up. Very unfortunate. Okay, I think that is going to do it for us tonight, guys. Because, I'm at about an hour and a half here. Yeah, Pokemaster. Yep, I see what you're saying there. Sous ship support. I know Grunt's excited. Okay.
Yeah, you can totally do. You can totally do that with sous ships too. We'll hopefully be able to come back and finish this soon, everybody. It depends on when we have time.
Yeah, it's just I know we're getting close to the time limit that I had set up, and it's probably best if we go ahead and stop here. So
yeah, we're about to go into an entire new archetype.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Good stopping point. So Grunt and Shadow Mew, guys, thank you so much again. I always appreciate your thoughts.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
It's always great giving my opinion on these cards that are either really good, really broken, or just really, really bad.
Yes, like True Light. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.